Hey, we are live on Facebook, live on YouTube. Just trying to get myself together here. How are y'all? Happy Sunday. Happy October. Happy new moon in Aries. All of my fellow Aries out there. This is a powerful moon. For me, I feel like this is a moon, a time period, I should say, full moon period of reset. And so, wherever you are in the world, whether you are listening live or on the replay, it's time to step into your power. I was trying to get myself together before we started because I just had a very humbling conversation and interaction. And it just amazes me to know and to recognize how much God protects me and takes care of me. And it comes in so many different ways. And so this week, I'm not quite sure how long we're going to be because I do have some things that I need to do today. And so I want us to meditate and talk about flexibility, where we may not be as flexible as we would like in our life, where we would like to employ more flexibility, um, and maybe think about flexibility in a different way. So, no matter where you are, again, live or watching on a recording, hi, I'm Coach Yolanda, spiritual life coach, Reiki master, and certified perinatal educator or birth doula. And it is my pleasure as the owner of Evolving Spirit Wellness to do this every Sunday. Well, not every Sunday, but to do this on Sunday where we meditate on different things. And I've just started to come up with different topics. Previous to this, didn't really know what we were going to meditate on. I don't have a script that I read from, but I am always encouraged by what may be helpful to you, what things are going on in my life, what things are going on in the ether, in the atmosphere, and flexibility is one of those topics that I think we need to meditate on because what flexibility really is fighting against resistance. Facing the resistance that all of us go through in particular areas of our life. Some may even say that being inflexible can be generated by our fears, things that we don't know. Last week, I talked about my new mantra it's not hard, it's new. And sometimes when things are new, we tend to be a little bit more resistant to change or to, just look like we don't know what we're doing. And so this meditation is to support us into increasing being so resistant to change because we are constantly changing. Hence, why I call my business Evolving Spirit. It is to encourage the facilitation of growth. We are constantly evolving. And if we want to remain in the flow of the way in which the universe turns, the nature is changing, things around us are changing all of the time. If we think that we can remain inflexible, then we're not going to grow. We're not going to be able to grow. And if that's what you want in your life, then fine. I'm not here to try to change anybody's mind. But if you recognize that there are particular things in your life that you would want to look differently, then that means having and employing some flexibility. So wherever you are, make sure, as always, that you are comfortable as you are coming into the space. If you want to give a shout out in the comments to say hi, how are you, where you're calling from, or where you're watching from, all of those things are appreciated. If at any time something comes up for you where you don't feel comfortable, then I would offer that you stop watching, get yourself together, make sure you are hydrating yourself, and then return to the meditation later. We meditate different over here. Mama Meditations is really about talking to you as if a nurturing spirit is talking to you. So it's not like a traditional meditation where we are sitting a particular way. I do want you to breathe. I do want you to breathe at a pace that is comfortable for you. But the meditation may ebb and flow from me asking you to visualize something and moving into more of you employing your brain. We can do what we want to do. And so, in this moment, let's take some deep breaths. Think about what flexibility means for you in this moment and what it could mean after this meditation. How you can think about it differently, how you can feel differently about change in your life and in the things that you think, feel, and experience. And as you continue to breathe, think about how many times that you were forced to be flexible. And if it is supportive to you to close your eyes during this time, to be more present in your body, sometimes closing your eyes can help you do that. If you feel like you need to take your hands and hold any particular place in your body or have them just out, whatever is comfortable for you. If you've got some restrictive clothing, you might want to loosen it up. If you are sitting, if you are standing, if you are laying down, whatever it is that you are doing, please make sure that you are comfortable and that you are safe. And so as you continue to breathe, making sure that you are at the appropriate comfort level for you, let us start to invite energy into this space. What we are essentially asking is for an expansion in our consciousness, an expansion in the way that we perceive ourselves and others. What we are stating and declaring that in this right now moment, what is most important to us is expansion. And expansion comes through being flexible, for moving through the resistance of what we think, what we feel, and how we may be behaving. We recognize that in this moment we are more aware of where we may be denying particular things, where we may be avoiding particular courses of action, and where we might be making excuses, where we feel like there may be a hold on us emotionally that we just can't seem to get out of. Whether it is consciously something that we are experiencing or we haven't yet gotten there. We know that we are in the presence of something that we don't desire, but we just can't seem to move out of it. Just can't seem to get to a point of turning the page or turning the corner. If that is true for you, then this meditation is for you. If you feel as though things don't always happen in the way that you think that they are supposed to happen, then being a little bit more flexible may be more beneficial than you realize. And so take some deep breaths, come into the truth that you know is present for you right now, whether it is the promises not kept, your own or others, whether it is the things that you are avoiding, where you just feel like your feet are cemented where they are and you cannot move. It's not even that you're going backwards. You know that you feel like there's no movement whatsoever in your life. You feel stuck. And I would offer that if you are feeling stuck, then what might be happening is that you are resistant to changes that may need to occur in your life. Doesn't make you a bad person, doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It just means that there is an energy of resistance, which is making it challenging to be more flexible. And so, in this right now moment, let's take some deep breaths, making sure that we are comfortable, making sure that we are safe, making sure that we are creating that environment where trust can be established, where limitations can start to dissipate. And as you continue to breathe, I want you to choose a place that either you have been to before or a place that you would like to go, where you feel all of those things. You feel safe, you trust the environment. Maybe you're there by yourself, maybe you are there with others. You feel at ease. There is a comfort there. There is an absolutely demonstration of freedom. And wherever you feel free and you feel at peace, you may not feel so resistant to things being different or changing. And so envision that place, wherever that is for you, either a creation in your mind or a place that you have been to before that you desire to go, where you feel free, where you feel at peace, where you feel comfortable, where things feel stable. There is a understanding in this place that you are creating in your mind, that you are visualizing. You know how you feel because you've either been there before or it is a desire within your body, within your mind, and within your spirit. You know this is where you want to be. You know that you feel at home. And the more that you connect to that feeling, the more you are recognizing that the muscles in your body don't feel as tense. You don't feel as strained. Take a deep breath and visualize that right now for yourself. And if this is a creation of your mind, this may not be an actual place. I want you to pay attention to what it sounds like, what it smells like. Create all of that right now. What's it smell like in this place of peace, in this place of freedom? What does the sound remind you of? Is it silent? Or maybe there's some music playing. Visualize it for yourself. This is your safe space that you are visualizing in your mind as you're breathing. You feel it deeper and deeper and deeper. It's more profound in your imagination in this right now moment that we are all sharing this experience of feeling free. There is no opposition, there is no negativity. You feel honored, you feel at ease. There is no fear. There is only trust and truth and certainty. All of the things that we desire to experience in the actual physical world, we are now creating in our mind in this right now moment. You feel right in your body, you feel right in your spirit. There is nothing limiting you in this space. You have created it. You know what it looks like, what it feels like, what it smells like. You know how you feel. Maybe you're feeling light and airy, stable. Whatever you may have been challenged with last week is a distant memory. Whatever circumstances may be present for you in your life, they are of no concern in this right now moment where we are creating a peaceful, free environment. No sadness, no confusion. You are clear. You don't know when you felt so at home. And as you are creating that in your mind, and just envision that this is the experience that you wish to carry with you in every human interaction, in every place that you go, whether it's personally or professionally, with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones, with strangers, that sense of peace that we wish that we could carry in the world. That sense of peace that is present in your mind can be present in your body when you learn to be more flexible, when you pull your feet out of the cement of whatever thought, whatever belief that you're just holding on to. Sometimes those belief systems that we hold on to inhibit our growth because we're unwilling to see ourselves in any other way, in any other life. We start making excuses for why things are the way they are instead of creating possibility and opportunity in our life. And maybe because we have been avoiding particular conversations or particular actions, we can't get past this point of resistance. And so in this moment, we are calling in more flexibility. We are reminding ourselves in this moment that with God, all things are possible. And if with God, who is present in all things are possible, then why am I resistant? Why am I doubting? Why am I denying? Why am I not telling the truth about just how things can change in an instant? Why am I resistant? When I have created in my mind this truth of freedom and peace, knowing that it exists with the God of my understanding, why am I creating it and holding it in my spirit, in my mind, and in my physical reality? Why am I telling myself that it's someone else's responsibility to move or be different so that things will be different for me? Why am I transferring or projecting or blaming others for their behavior interfering with how I think about myself and how I move in this world? Why would I let anybody who is not invested in my growth to stop me from growing? Why? Why would I accept a no from anyone who is not in a position to give me a yes and make it so? Why am I placing so much energy into places and into people and into experiences that were not designed for my growth? Why am I letting my anger, my sadness, my confusion to limit the way that I see myself? Why am I resistant? Why am I not showing up for myself in the way that I wish that I showed up for others? Mm. Why am I always giving, 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 but not giving to myself? Why am I so resistant to give myself the love that I so freely give to everyone else? Why am I so resistant to tell the truth that I'm not happy where I am? And I know that I need to move, but it feels as though I'm unable to do so. Why am I not looking for opportunities? And what am I saying about myself? Why am I not working on becoming more confident and more courageous? Why am I not working on that instead of working on tearing myself down, engaging in self-sabotaging activities, distractions? Why is that where I will place my attention instead on the things that could create flexibility for me? Why am I so afraid to bend, but I feel like I'm being pushed over anyway? Hmm. Why am I so damned determined to be in control of every aspect of my life and of other people's lives. And I'm unwilling to trust. Where are my control freaks who want to make sure that they control everything? What other people do, what other people say, how other people show up in our lives. We want to control everything, and we are unwilling to trust that things may look differently than we expected them to look. Why are we afraid of other people's opinions, which may actually push us further? I don't know. Other people may have information for us, and we just don't want to hear it. Maybe because of the source, maybe because of not feeling comfortable with ourselves, not trusting ourselves, so we don't trust anyone. Or when we did trust people in the past, it did not work out well for us, so now we don't trust anyone. That is being inflexible. And wherever we are not flexible, we cannot grow. Or maybe our discernment is not where we would like for it to be, so we can't understand the difference between constructive criticism and bashing or judgment. Maybe every time someone says something to us, we take it personal instead of looking for the possibility that there may be something true based upon the source of the information and what is being shared. Am I listening to what is being shared, or am I listening to be wrong? Or do I think I have to be right about everything? Anything that keeps us resistant is also keeping us from growing. So continue to take some deep breaths and tell yourself the truth of where in your life, where in your body you feel it physically, where in your mind you feel it mentally or emotionally, where in your soul you feel it spiritually, that there is some resistance. Just downright, I am refusing to accept. I am refusing to acknowledge. I am refusing to become more aware. No one can tell me anything because I think I know it all. When no matter how old you are, no matter how much you have studied, no matter how much you think you have mastered, there is always an opportunity to learn something new. And if you remain open and remain willing to hear, to see, and to learn and to gather some wisdom, you have the opportunity to continue to grow. So let's take a deep breath and tell ourselves the truth of where resistance may be living in our body, in our life, in this right now moment. We think we're under control. And what we are doing is keeping ourselves resistant. Hmm. We keep breaking promises to ourselves. We keep breaking commitments. We are not consistent because we're resistant and we refuse to be flexible, to possibly do something different so that you get a different result. Or possibly release yourself from understanding and thinking it's got to look the way that I say it's got to look, because if it doesn't, then it's not happening. How do you know? How do you know that your refusal to be flexible is the reason why things are not showing up in the way that you would love for them to show up? How do we know if we are unwilling to open ourselves up to the possibility of seeing something new? If we are unwilling to open ourselves up to the possibility of seeing an actual miracle, which means that we didn't expect it, we didn't know how it was going to come, what it was going to look like, what it was going to sound like, smell like. We just don't know. That is why it's a miracle, because it's unexpected. And if we are so busy trying to control every aspect of our lives, where do you leave room for the miracles to unfold? Where do you create the opportunity for God to blow your mind if your mind is so centered on it's got to be like this? They have to show up, they have to say it, and it has to be the way that I've created it in my limited human mind. Where are you leaving space for God to show you something different if you don't want to be flexible? You think you know everything. If we are unwilling to admit that there are things that we just don't know and may never understand, which is where our faith comes in. If we are unwilling to do those things, then how do you develop your faith? How do you allow new things to happen for you if you are so centered in the old way of doing things, the old way of thinking, the old way of feeling, which has gotten you to this point? But how can it take you further if you are unwilling to learn something new? Doesn't mean it's easy, but it needs to be necessary. You need to be able to do it even if you are afraid. Remain open, remain flexible, remain open to the possibility that you are going to learn something new or something unexpected is going to be the answer. It's going to be the solution to the challenge that's before you, because I'm sure you have already tried everything that you know to do humanly possible. Perhaps the solution is not a human thing, it's a spiritual thing. And if it is a spiritual thing, what makes you think that you have to have your hand in it and control the way in which it unfolds? Whew, let's take a breath. So many opportunities this week for me personally to have my mind blown. And I know that if I remained stagnant in this thing has to show up from this person and be said in this way and unfold exactly the way that I have it planned out in my mind, I would never see the opportunity that God has placed before me. If I wanted to control everything. And so telling yourself the truth about where you are inflexible in your thinking, your feeling, or your behavior is putting you a step closer to actually having faith and trusting that you are being taken care of spiritually, even if you can't see it physically. And I know that as humans, we love evidence. That's why we love all of these shows about forensic evidence and prove this to me, prove that to me. I want to see someone else try it before I try it. I want to see someone else buy it before I buy it. I want to see the reviews. I want to know what I might experience before I trust. And I know that all of that type of thinking has pushed us away from having faith, that things are always working in your favor. You don't need to read ahead. You don't need to look over anyone's shoulder. You don't need 20 different documents of proof. If you believe and trust in here and in here and in the God of your understanding, why do you need 20 different things of evidence before you move, before you take a step, before you take a risk? Why? What are you saying about yourself and the God of your understanding where you need proof? before things for you change? These are questions for all of us to ask ourselves. And meditation is a great place to ask ourselves questions of show me where I am resistant. Show me where I can be more flexible in my thinking and my feeling and in my behavior, in my actions, so that I actually complete things, I actually see things through, that I don't give up. Flexibility works for you so that you're not always giving up because things don't look the way you think they're supposed to look, so you just give up. Got to be flexible and recognize and understand that the process that you are going through is part of the success plan. You don't know what it's supposed to look like because you haven't done it yet. It's not hard, it's new. And if we continue to start things and then we don't complete them because it doesn't look the way that we think it's going to look, how will we ever get to the point of completion, the point of success, or the point of growth? Remaining steadfast in the things that you say that you desire will require you to be flexible about how those things are acquired, how they come to you, how you create them. And I hope that you are still breathing with me because that's a lot to take in. And there is a consistent theme through all of our meditations about trust. Anytime you are closing your eyes and you're opening yourself up to the possibility that you are going to be taken from one state of being to another, there is the element of trust. It is necessary for growth so that we no longer have resistance in the way of what we see and of what we hear. Because if resistance is here, you're not seeing the whole picture. You're only seeing your limited view. And so take a deep breath and think about the beginning where we started, where you created that place where you feel free, where you don't feel restricted, with where everything that you think, you feel, behave, all things are in alignment. If you can create that in your mind, then you can create that in your life. If you are no longer being reactionary to everything that's going on, but you are certain and confident in who you are so that you can respond accordingly and say, I might have to be a little bit more flexible in my thinking. This might be happening in ways that are unfamiliar to me. I don't know everything. So I may have to ask for support. And I'm going to have to trust myself and the support that I am receiving. And when you are not trusting, then think about what it is that you're saying about yourself, that you don't have intuition, that you don't have discernment, that you're not a safe space for yourself. So therefore, you don't know when other people who, might be coming in with unsafe tactics and behaviors. Is that what you're going to say about yourself? Or are you confident that I might not see you for who you truly are the first time, but I'm really quick and I'm really smart and I may see it because I'm going to pay attention to my heart. I'm going to trust me. I'm going to trust my voice. And that's something that many of us may have to learn how to practice to do because we're so used to listening to what everyone else is saying. So continue to take deep breaths and create that safe space within your body so that you're not blaming other people when things don't go the way that you think they're supposed to go. So there's not a list of excuses that continue to grow in your life. So that you are not surrounded with so much sadness and disappointment Be open to seeing things in another way that may exceed your human limitations and may require you to employ your spiritual sense of faith, belief, and trust. When you are a control freak, trusting yourself is also a challenge. You may either be telling yourself, I am the only one that I can trust, and therefore I'm not listening to anybody. I'm staying as I am. Or you may be telling yourself, I don't trust myself, so I have to listen to everything and everyone. Somewhere in the middle of those two is a comfortable reality called discernment. That not everybody is looking to do anything harmful. Not everyone is looking to just help you, because there is a healthy viewpoint that I will be able to trust my heart. I will be able to remain open and still create healthy boundaries that allow me to be safe in here. Because flexibility really is about safety and stability. And if you do not feel stable in your mind and in your heart, then you are going to employ resistance. You're going to question everything. You're going to question whether people's intentions are pure. You're going to question yourself. Am I doing the right thing? Flexibility requires you to have discernment and still recognize when you might need to move, when you might need to pivot, trusting your instincts. And we all have them. And so as we continue to breathe, don't forget to do that, because that also is a mechanism of trusting yourself. You ever recognize when you are holding your breath? When you're trying to decide about particular things and you hold your breath, or if you're driving and you turn down the radio to make sure that you are where you're supposed to be. When you're carefree and trusting yourself and you're like, I know where I'm at. We don't need to do all of those kind of things to make sure that we are safe. We have a sensibility that I am where I'm supposed to be, and I'm good where I'm at, and I'm trusting that I will be okay. And the flexibility really isn't about just letting anything in and just letting anybody do whatever. Flexibility really is about, I trust me and I trust the God of my understanding. My faith is where it needs to be. I don't have to have 20 different pieces of evidence to prove it's going to happen, because even if you do, doesn't mean it's going to happen for you. Just because someone comes before you and says, look, I have this formula and it's worked for me 1,000 times, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. You have to trust yourself. You have to trust yourself and have faith and feel stable as you are. Because a lot of times, wherever we're resistant, we're not thinking clearly. We could be overly emotional. We might be creating stories that have no basis in the truth. And it could be based upon something that's been going on longer than your existence. Well, this is the way my family has always done things, and this is just how we are. The consciousness of, well, I'm a this, I'm a that, and this means I can't do these things, or I have to do these other things. You know, flexibility exceeds the limitations of gender and race and all of those other things that we construct in our mind and think have to be the way that they have to be. Flexibility is fluidity. And you may need to engage in that so that you learn something new, so that you learn how to change things for yourself. Instead of waiting for everything around you to change, and then you will trust. And then you will step forward, and then you will show up. Child, if I had to wait on other people to create the things in my life that I desire, I would be waiting for a long time. And I already feel like I'm an old lady. I don't want to grow old waiting for other things to show up, waiting for other people to get where I think they need to be to make me comfortable or for me to realize and recognize the dreams that I have for my life. I am creating them now. And I'm going to be flexible in the way that I do it so that I don't limit myself to the possibility that this thing is going to show up in a way that absolutely blows my mind because, again, that's what miracles are. Unexpected. Didn't know where it was coming from. Couldn't have even imagined it if I tried. So let's take a deep breath again. Ask yourself these questions this week. Where am I resistant? Where am I negative? Where am I thinking negatively? Where am I overly emotional and possibly creating a story that has no basis in truth, but it's based upon my emotions that are out of control, out of my control? Where am I not even employing logic? I know for me, sometimes I have created stories that have absolutely no basis. I have a drawer right here. I could pull this, I can open up this drawer in front of me right now and pull out all kind of weapons based upon all kind of killers that I think are coming to get me. Are they based in the truth? Somewhat, but the level of weaponry that I sometimes engage in because I think somebody is coming to harm me is really not based in logic. And what do I think I'm going to do anyway? So ask yourself those questions this week. Where am I just not being logical? Where this just doesn't make sense? Where am I not aware of cycles that I might be in with people? Am I waiting for somebody to change because I want our experience together to change? Ask yourself where you are resistant so that you can transform your life experience. Ask yourself, where do I not feel safe? And why do I not feel safe in this environment? What things are coming up for me? Is it something that is true now, or is it something that was true a long time ago, but I'm bringing it into the here and now? Where am I not feeling comfortable enough with my emotions that I am suppressing them? I am numbing. I'm just not expressing how I really feel. I'm playing and pretending in front of everybody else. Where am I not allowing myself to express my anger? That is a big one for women because our programming in this society tells us that nice girls don't get angry, we don't get upset. I have seen women in positions where they are uncomfortable and they are thinking of how do I make the person who is making me uncomfortable, how do I make them more comfortable? It seems logical because you don't want them to hurt you. So your idea is let me make them feel safe so they don't harm me. And so we've been programmed not to express anger, not to get upset, because it could absolutely mean that we are in harm's way. I'm not telling you to put yourselves in harm's way. I am saying if there is anger that you have not expressed, get in tune with it, get in touch with it for yourself. I'm not telling you to call people up on the phone and be like, I need to tell you why I'm upset. You need to become clear about your emotions. Wherever you feel unappreciated, or let's tell the truth, maybe you've been holding these unrealistic expectations. Everybody's got a storybook with their name in it, and people are not playing the part. The shoulda, coulda, wouldas. I should be this by now. I could have been this. I would have been that. Where are you holding unrealistic expectations? that may be the point of resistance for you. Or there's a fear that I have that I'm not really ready to face. Write these things out, ask yourself these questions, and make it about you and not everybody else just yet. It's not about, well, my mother didn't do this thing, so that's why I'm angry. I want you to focus on the fact that you are angry and that your emotions are valid and that you are telling yourself you're not going to let these emotions that are present within you keep you resistant for the things that you desire. I'm not going to hold on to particular things that keep me from the very things that I desire in my life. A past breakup is not going to keep me from the wonderful love that I know that is out there for me. Take my glasses off on that one. A past breakup is not going to keep me resistant to love. A disappointment from my past is not going to keep me from dreaming, hoping, desiring, or engaging in the possibility of things being different for me with different people. But I recognize that that means that in my mind, I have to be flexible. And that does not mean that we just invite anybody in. That means I become my safe space. I use my wisdom. I am trusting me. I am the stability that I am seeking. I am creating things in my life so that my foundation and my footing are sure, so that my steps are ordered and organized divinely, so that I'm confident. And I might bend because I'm flexible, but I'm not going to break. I'm not going to be so resistant because that's what really happens. It's where we're resistant, that's what breaks us because we were unwilling to be flexible. We were this way. Something came along and just broke us in half. And it happens for all of us. And even if there are places in your life where you feel like you may be broken, baby, you can be put back together again. You may not be put back together again in the same way, but you can be restored. You can be repaired. You can be made whole if you are willing to believe it and trust it. And so I am thankful again for these opportunities that we have to talk with one another, to meditate on where am I resistant in my life and how can I engage in more flexibility. And so if you have a comment, a concern, a question, now's a good time for you to make it known so we can have a little bit more discussion around flexibility. Because a lot of times when I'm speaking to people, I feel stuck. And I always say, we got to reframe that. It's not I feel stuck. Even if that's how you feel, it's I'm resistant. There's some resistance in me somewhere. I may not know where it is, but I want to find out. Because if you have the acknowledgement that you want something different, then that means you got to do something different. And that means you got to ask some questions. Okay, well, what is it that I'm doing now? What am I holding? What thought, what feeling, what behavior am I engaging in right now that resistance is showing up? And that could be, I got a lot of negativity in me. It could be I'm around some toxic people and I'm absorbing that energy. It could be I'm overly emotional, meaning I'm not really in tune with my emotions, so I can't regulate them. And so everything looks like it's against me, or I can't push past particular things, or I'm not working toward anything. All of those things could feel like you're stuck. What it is resistance. There's something in the way. The only way we can figure out what's in the way is by looking at it and asking, well, what the heck is this? What are you? Why are you in the way? Why is this here? Why is this preventing me from those things that are living in my heart? I know each and every single one of us, whether you say you don't or not, I know you still have dreams. I know you still have expectations. I know there are still desires that you have. And you may have given up and say, yeah, it's just not going to happen for me. In my morning call, we were talking about, I don't know if y'all saw the video of, it was a niece at her uncle's wedding. He's in his 80s and he was getting married. Now, I don't know if it was his first marriage or not, but if he's still at 80 saying love is possible, why would any one of us think that love is not a possibility for us or that success is not a possibility for us? I'm seeing people in their 80s still graduate from college, still graduating from high school, still accomplishing things because they are flexible in their thinking that I am not going to let my age, my race, my economic status, whatever crazy people are doing in the world, I'm not letting any of those things be a point of resistance for me. They can believe all they want to. I'm not going to let that stop me. And if I'm angry about something, and that's all I can hear, see, feel, I need to figure out, why am I so angry? If I'm sad about something, and that's all I can hear and see from a place or a perception of sadness, why am I so sad? What am I holding on to? Or if I'm creating stories that really are not true, but I'm believing them, everyone is against me, no one loves me, the reason I don't have these things in my life is because other things were not present. I am not saying that every single one of us could say, you know what, if things had been different in my life, then my life would look different. We all could say that. But what are you doing about it right now? What flexible things are you engaging in which are going to push you over the resistance that might be present? Whether it's a resource you don't have, a conversation that you didn't get, a goodbye, I'm sorry. There are many things that we all feel that we need in order to push through or get through. How do you do it, even if those things don't show up? I can think about 5 people right now that owe me some I'm sorry. I may never get them. Am I going to let that limit my life experience? Absolutely not. I can think of 2 people who I love them to death, and I know it's not their intention to do so. But every time I start to do something of value to me, here they come. They are pleasant distractions. Am I going to let them, even though I love them and our engagements are pleasurable, am I going to let those things stop me from the things that I say that I want? No. And so if you have just given up or you feel like you have resigned to a particular way of being, I'm going to ask you to be more flexible in the way that you think. Be more flexible in the way that you are regulating your emotions. Sometimes we feel like we don't have the right to feel particular things, and that's the point of resistance. Well, I don't have a right to be mad. Let me tell you something. You better get mad and learn how to express it appropriately so you can get from behind that wall of anger and shame and guilt and regret that's holding you up from the things that are waiting for you. When I'm working with people, we work a lot on, I need you to be mad, particularly with women. I'm going to need you to say it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be upset. You can process your anger appropriately so that it doesn't become the reason why you're stagnant and that things don't happen for you. Where you are resistant, it's like a log jam. The energy can't flow behind this jam of resistance, and it will work against you. Things can't move. constipated, emotionally constipation. Whew, because we just want to be resistant. And so I need all of us to be more flexible. I know for me, the point of most of the most resistant in my life is my way of thinking, creating stuff that is not true, that's illogical and has no basis in truth. But I can create a story. I should write some mystery novels because boy, I can create a story, a doozy. And I know that if I continue to do that, then I'm never going to see past into the possibility of what could happen in my life. And so you also need to ask yourself some questions. Where am I resistant? Where are things not happening or not moving? Where am I constipated mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or physically? And what am I willing to do to be more flexible, to allow more movement and change and growth and expansion in my life experiences? Where, oh, where, oh, where? Like I could be doing this thing differently if I could just feel safe, if I could feel smarter, if I could trust more, if it was more stable. I feel like I could be more flexible. Well, then that's a conversation that you need to have. And if you want to have it with me, y'all know I got office hours. Let's talk about it. What could it be? How do I increase my confidence so that nothing stops me? You know how we all love those people who are like, no matter what's going on in their life, they just keep on moving like the Energizer Bunny. They just keep on going. Doesn't mean that they don't have fear, doesn't mean that they don't have any resistance. It means that the desire is stronger than the fear. The opposition cannot hold a candle to what it is I am employing and engaging in my life. I'm flexible. I'm willing to bend if I got to. I'm willing to let go if I have to. I'm willing to look silly if I need to. I'm willing to learn something new. Just be willing. I'm willing to surrender. Mm. Willing to be consistent. I'm willing to be committed. I'm willing, I'm willing, I'm willing, I'm willing. I am going to do it. So if you need more of that in your life, start with asking yourselves questions about, well, where am I resistant? And the way to face resistance is to employ more flexibility. If you need any assistance in doing that, again, give me a call. We can support each other. None of us should be out here feeling like it's just us. Not so much on Facebook, but I did post a video about encouragement and inspiration and where it comes from. And we get so hung up on my family's not supportive, my friends are not supportive, and we don't always recognize that support can come from so many different places. If all you want to do is focus on who doesn't show up, you are not going to be able to see who is showing up. And I hope that one of the people that is showing up for you consistently is you. If no one else shows up, you have to show up for you. And if you need somebody else to show up for you, give me a call. I would love to talk to you. I love our Sunday moments. I got some other things to do today. I hope that whatever you are doing today in this Sunday, we have seen the sun for a couple of days now, and it feels good to do that. I'm going to get out and get some sun. I hope that you will too. As always, schedule some office hours so we can have a one-on-one conversation if you feel it necessary. If there is ever an opportunity that you would like to join me on a Sunday where you can come on and we can have, so it's not just me talking, that we are actually having conversations, you can go to my website. Look at doing it here? What is prayer partner doing it here? Go to my website and you can see that there are opportunities for us to have. That's the discussion that needs to happen, y'all. I need to have prayer partner come on with me sometime, because let me tell you how sometimes we on the phone for like 4 hours encouraging one another to be flexible and to show up for ourselves. And again, if you don't have those kind of people in your life, you better find some, because it's rough out in these streets. And so if you can find someone who is willing to share and be invested in your emotional growth, you better appreciate them. You better love them. You better stop looking for the people who are not showing up for you. My family don't ever show up. My friend, listen, there are people who are invested in your growth. You may never know them. You may never meet them. You might not even know it's there. Trust that it is there. Because if nothing else, God is showing up for you all the freaking time. So if you are not acknowledging that, now I don't know what else to tell you. I love y'all. Thank you. Thank you, prayer partner, for always, always. This woman always shows up for me. And so if I got God and prayer partner, I don't need nobody else. But I know that there are hundreds, thousands. I like to think millions of individuals that I know and I don't know. And I'm not even talking about the ancestors who are always, always at my back, at my front, on my sides. Please, the more that you acknowledge the presence of people who are showing up for you, the more you will see more people show up for you. I love y'all. Have an amazing rest of your Sunday. And if it is the Creator's will, we'll be back here next Sunday. Now, next Sunday may be abbreviated because I have an event after. Next week, we will be meditating on something else that's going to push us forward to the desires of our heart. And I will be so happy if you choose to join me. Love y'all. Have a good one.